One of my beliefs is success is always available. The question is, are you available for success? So, success is always available. Are you available for success? A lot of times people think they don't have the opportunity to get more, but it is available. There's people that need our product. There's people that need whatever product you sell. There's people that need it. Do you make yourself available for success?
Focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks.
It's episode 58. This is Wealth on the Beach Club podcast with Daniel Alonzo, bringing you every single week some of the brightest minds, some of the most successful people in the world. We're talking how to create massive passive residual income with some of the greatest people on earth. Today, our special guest, this guy is such a freaking stud, man. His name is Chris Chong, and he came from nothing to tragedy back to something, and has really inspired thousands and thousands of people during his time in business. He joined business. He actually got in business in 1997. His income today is over $850,000. He's got 9 first generation locations, regional vice president locations, 3 second generation, $200,000 direct earners, 3 $200,000 direct earners. He's got 140 codes in his base, 480 codes in his hierarchy. Owned up to 8 other companies at one time. His main passion is art and traveling, and between the other businesses and real estate investments, he nets over $400,000 plus. Head coach of the A unit hierarchy. He is just cranking. So Chris, man, tell me, how does it feel to be financially independent, man?
Man, I'm still working on it. I'm financially in the right direction, which is what the story is. You never know what comes up next. So, one of my favorite things, by the way, first of all, I'm just excited to be on your podcast. You are absolutely, what you're doing for everyone is just unfreaking believable. I think one of the greatest things you could do in life is get an opportunity to help people grow. That's how you make impact in this world. And you've impacted a lot of people in my companies. So they love listening to you. It's just always someone new that's coming saying, sometimes the same message, but just a different way. But we're pumped up about that, man. But what you was asking, I believe, direction supersedes position. I think when I learned this years ago, it really just kind of changed my life, because sometimes you're in a bad position in life, and, as long as you change direction, you'll be all right. And, and it makes you smile. And sometimes you're in a good position, but if you're going in the wrong direction, you got to check yourself and make sure you get. So I don't know if I'm financially independent. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I got some money. I don't work as hard as I used to. I work more focused now, but I'm absolutely every day. I wake up hungry. I go to bed thirsty every single day, thinking about the right direction. And I'm coaching my businesses and companies to go in the right. I mean, we'll screw up today. We'll lose money today. We'll make money tomorrow, but none of that counts if you're going in the wrong direction. So we just consistently focus on going in the right direction and just waking up hungry, going to bed thirsty, man. So, I don't know if we're free yet. I don't know if there's such a thing.
Hey, man. Well, I want to tell you, dude, look, there's not many people in the world that make $850,000 a year. Okay. So, and about 90% of that is probably passive residual for you. I mean, you don't work as hard as you used to anymore. Most of that comes from your businesses. And if you never worked a day in your life again, you'd still make probably $500,000 a year or whatever the number is. You get what I'm saying? So to me, you are 100% financially independent. It's just that, like, we're screwed. We're screwed and skewed. All right, let me make sure I clarify that. We're skewed in the brain because of the environment that we grew up in, Chris, and you know what I'm talking about, is like, we're making $1 million a year and we're still freaking hungry. Like, most people make 50 and they're like, man, I'm, chilling on the couch every day. Right. Am I right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just staying uncomfortable. I look at your ability to squeeze the most out of every day is what's gonna, I'm losing a bunch of weight now, and I got coached by someone the other day. I'm not gonna mention his name, but I got coached by someone the other day that really, he told me stop focusing on hitting all these huge goals, and which I knew this, but sometimes we get all caught up with, I want to accomplish all this. He said, start focusing on your day-to-day goals. Try to squeeze the most you can out of every day. And when I look at all the success we've had, and I look at the people that succeeded in my businesses, they try to squeeze the most out of it every day. Most people got something set up. They got something planned. They're going to close something next week. They got a deal coming. It's what you close today that counts, And so we focus on doing that. We focus on putting things in position where every day there's a win. Like we're here, right now, working on a different project, seeing what we can close today, because today's what counts.
I love that, man. I love that. Hey, let's talk a little bit about your past. And first of all, I mean, you grew up in Trinidad, right? And then you ended up moving to New York City. And so what was that like, man? I mean, you're an immigrant, and tell me, like, how was that transition as a young child? How did you deal with that?
I think there was a lot of benefits, and, obviously there were some challenges, but at 12 years old, my parents said, we're going to the United States. And I was like, cool, we're going to be rich in the United States, and totally wasn't that, it wasn't the case. We lived above the laundromat, which if you ever lived over a laundromat back in the days, the laundromats would shake and smell like Febreze. I should have invented Febreze, but so you'd walk out the house, you'd be shaking 10, 15 minutes after you get out the house. I mean, that's how we started. In Trinidad, we just had a little bit of money. We wasn't poor, but we had a little bit more than most. And, and I learned a lot from my parents in terms of giving back and just, and then we came to the United States and, started going to school, which totally, it didn't work really well for me because we had this thing in our head of creativity. I think one of the things that successful people have that we don't use enough is our creativity. And that's what separates us from everything else. And as a kid, we just got really creative, and so we brought that into business. And sometimes it got us in a little trouble. I never was able to step over the line, but I definitely stepped on the line a couple of times just because of personality purposes, reasons. But we're always excited about just a lot of the things that we learned as kids growing up. It was a challenge in the United States, but we've kind of made it work a little bit.
Hey, were you a bad kid growing up?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. Absolutely. Good. And so why do you think you were a bad kid growing up? Because I was too, by the way. I was a bad kid growing up.
I wasn't bad. I was just, I was putting myself in a position where I was creative, and so I liked having fun. I didn't really do like stuff where I would hurt people, but I would do a lot of stuff just to, get out of trouble.
Give me an example. Give me some examples of bad stuff you did when you were young.
I would disappear a lot, so I was into getting up and just, leaving the house and not coming back for sometimes a day and a half. We got into a lot of fights. I mean, that was normal because there was nothing else to do. Fight. That's how the environment you grew up in. Even when I got here to the United States, it was the same thing too. Sometimes, people mock people from certain environments, but the fact is, peer pressure always wins. It's really hard to fight peer pressure. So you have to get in the right environment where it's the right peer pressure. You're never going to be able to fight it. You just got to get in the right environment. So when we was in the wrong environment, it won. But then when we made a decision to get in the right environment, cut off a lot of people and a lot of environments of people that are settled and they just want to stay still. We started accomplishing a whole lot more. And we started realizing a lot of the things that was against us in the beginning, we was able to use those as strengths to help us really dominate in business. And, like we never blink, we never get nervous, we never get scared because, some of these things in businesses, you just lose money. You don't really lose yourself, if you know what I mean. It's cool that you can lose money and not lose yourself. Sometimes in the wrong places, you can lose money and yourself. Okay.
Right. So growing up was tough though, right? I mean, so you moved to this new country and you're, it's New York. What part of New York was it?
Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably was it a little bit of rough part of town? I mean,
yes, it was extremely rough. It was in the days of, when Biggie Smalls and all these guys grew up, when Jay-Z was the real Jay-Z, not the new Jay-Z. Okay?
Right.
The original Jay-Z. I went to school with both of them actually. So, it was a different environment. It was a fight every day, so to speak, just to, stay positive and do the right things. But if you look at what the opportunities we have, that if we just stop letting them pass us, and we use the opportunities we have, none of those things really matter, you know. And fortunately, we got hooked up with the right company and the right places, and then we just worked our butt off. Yeah,
And so then now, so you're getting a little bit older. How did you get into business? How did that all start?
I had a friend that was in the financial business, and she told me I should come take a look at it. And at first, I didn't fit in. I didn't see myself being a suit guy or anything like that. I just saw myself as being maybe a laborer or someone that worked for someone. But I said, let me give it a shot. And it was an opportunity to actually learn about investments and insurance and stuff like that, which I never knew that you're supposed to learn about that stuff. So it kind of shocked me, but it just kind of made sense. If I could learn that, maybe I won't make money in that field. But if I can learn that, I could use that when I make money to actually, become financial independent. And it just flipped. It just happened to just work a lot better. Where we actually.
What did you do before? What kind of work did you do before?
I did a little bit of nursing. I got a nursing degree in the Caribbean market. I'm Caribbean. We tend to a lot of times go into nursing and stuff like that. So I got in nursing. That lasted about probably 3 or 4 months before I got in the financial field, and then I found out you could get paid $600 or $700 for an hour versus a whole week. So I jumped ship immediately. I didn't look back.
So now, did you get off to a fast start?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was a lot of challenges with my thinking. Which I believe is the number one challenge that there's out there, mindset. And I had to work on my mindset. I had to work on believing that I could be somebody. And I used to look up to people. I would get intimidated. You would see people that they're successful in business, or they talk good, or they dress good. And at first, I just, I felt like that wasn't me. But then I started trying, which I challenge people to do all the time. Try, and there's almost 100% chance you're going to be better than some of these people. And I can tell you, pretty much all the people that I look up to, all the people that coached me in the beginning, almost every one of them I was able to either catch in business or pass them. Well, I actually have some people in my business that pass them, and has a lot to do with mindset. So I'll take someone that, that maybe they're a little intimidated, and show them how to adjust their mindset, and they can get success. Okay, matter of fact, they come in with the tools. Especially if you grow up a little aggressive, you grow up with a little strong personality, business is right for you. Don't get intimidated.
So you look for, I would imagine you look for strong, athlete-minded, people to come into the business. Is that do you have a lot of people like that in your business that are a little more aggressive?
I do. Actually, I do. Yeah. We just because sometimes you just get along with certain people, like I'm sitting in Atlantic City in a suite with one of my VPs, and he was a little bit rough around the edges too when he started, but it's just something about, we want more in life, and we just, I think I believe 2 things you got to work on every day is working on increasing your standards and increasing your deserved factor. And if every day we work on those 2 things, where we increase our standards, I believe the world will bend over backwards for anyone that's able to just consistently believe that they deserve more, and they work hard enough that, they feel like anything that they get, they're 100% deserve. And I show people how to just work past all those kinks. Like, you don't need to get technical. You don't need to know everything. You can actually work hard past all those things. Like, I just started learning about business because I've had so many businesses fail, which is experience. And then I've took some business courses. So I know how to be successful in my business that I'm in now, but all the other companies that I've done, a lot of them, some of them I did wrong, which, it's what it is. I lost, millions of dollars. But, we got an opportunity to learn those lessons, and we started learning business, and business really doesn't require that much. But you do have to learn some key things. So, we're excited about every day just raising our standards. And, and just,
what sort of things, looking at some of the things you've been learning, are there some takeaways from what you've been learning that maybe you can, or like even tell us some of the mistakes you made that you feel like, you wish you wouldn't have made?
I stopped too soon a couple times, which business is a little scary in a sense, where sometimes it seems like it's not working, but it's working. And then you stop to check and see what's going on. But really, that wasn't the time to stop. You should have stopped, 3 or 4 or 5 corners later, and then you're no longer in trouble. And so there's some times that I stopped, years and years and years of now I look back and I see times that I push through things, and get a little bit more. You need enough where after everything falls out, you still have. And so I think that was one of my biggest challenges. And that's just what I talked about earlier, being intimidated to go after the right people in the right market. I think is the biggest challenge, and one of the big challenges of businesses, and I just, I found who needed what I do, and I went after them, and I got no's, and I got not interested, but then I went after them again, and then I got less no's, and that, like, I'm learning real estate now. I'm building some property in Dominican Republic, and I'm dealing with builders and all that stuff. I've never built a house before, but guess how I'm learning? I learned from a book. I went to 8 builders. I learned everything. And then I went back to the first builder, and it says, here's what I learned, so you can't charge me that much. And I went back again to the first again, went through all 8, and and I just closed on a deal that would have been probably 600,000 more. I saved 600,000 just from self-education, just being direct and pretending kind of like I knew what I was doing. So I didn't know you could do that in business early on. I thought you had to know everything to do it, but it's
so sometimes experience is just the best teacher. You find out through doing. And I think the challenge, and this is a perfect little lesson, because people spend their whole life, Chris, trying to figure things out, and then they wake up and they're like 80, and they're like, shit, man, I didn't do anything. And at least you could look back, and even though you've made mistakes, even though you failed, you could look back and you could go, well, shit, I failed a lot, but I've also succeeded a lot too. I mean, you have a business worth almost $10 million, Chris. And so, you've succeeded beyond the wildest dreams of most people in America. I mean, if you think about it, the average 1%er makes $478,000 a year. You probably didn't know that, but you're in the top 1% of the 1% of the world. Wow. And so, I know sometimes we all feel that way, and we all want to get better. And we all want to get to that next level. But I think sometimes you sit back and you go, well, shit, I've done pretty okay. And now I'm going to go out there and help a lot of other people get what I got too. And I think that's what you're doing right now. Tell me about that, man. I mean, how important is recruiting to any business there is?
When you say recruiting, I think about opportunity. And it's really important. See, one of my beliefs is success is always available. The question is, are you available for success? So, success is always available. Are you available for success? A lot of times people think they don't have the opportunity to get more, but it is available. There's people that need our product. There's people that need whatever product you sell. There's people that need it. Do you make yourself available for success? Or do you go home for, dinner every day? Or do you, have, 2-hour lunches? Or do you, hang out at your office? But success is available. There's no shortage of clients in pretty much any arena in the United States. There's always a client for pretty much any product. It just means, are you hustling enough? Are you making yourself available for success? So success, I believe, in terms of recruiting, that it's absolutely available. One, you don't understand the value. I'll use myself as an example. I haven't done a personal sale since January of 2008. So since January of I'm not telling people to stop doing personal sales, but since January of 2008, and it was by accident. I had a challenge in my life, and I stopped by accident, and I just never went back because my business kept on growing. But January of 2008, I haven't wrote a sale. So when you talked about it earlier, 100% of my income comes from my offices and companies. I've made 0 sales. I only close people on making 200 and 300 and 400,000 on making more money. I don't close direct clients anymore. My clients are the people that work in my business. So I believe recruiting, if you know how free you can get from recruiting. I just got back from, like I said, I was doing that thing in Dominican Republic. I just got back for 32 days. I was in Dominican Republic. Not one phone call. No one called me to ask you, how do you do this? This fell apart. One of my philosophies that I believe in business is overstaff. I believe 1,000% in overstaff. So I have more staff. I have an assistant. I have an assistant. I have an assistant. People think it's a joke, but if I don't do that, then I have to do something that I don't want to do. Then I'm not thinking about what I should be doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm thinking about stuff that could be done by someone else. So we absolutely, I recruit with staff. I recruit with agents. I 1,000% believe in you shouldn't do all the work.
So when somebody gets in, let's just say you recruit somebody, okay? So somebody comes in, what's a part of your process? Like, what's the next step for that person that comes in your business?
I like to make sure that they're the right person. So even though they got in, doesn't mean I really want them.
So how do we know they're the right person? How do you determine that?
I start doing different tests and seeing how they react. When I ask a bunch of questions, like, what do they really want? And I try to find out if they even know what kind of goals they want, and if they're willing to, pay a price to get those goals. And then I have direct conversations of what they have to do. Like for instance, in my business, they have to get licensed. There's things like, are you willing to make 100% commitment to do that? And then I look at their character in terms of work ethic, because everyone can talk a good game. So then I say, well, let's go look at some appointments. Let's see how many appointments you could do. And if that's the case, that, and I'll do that to everybody, and some people will do it, some people won't do it. But eventually the right ones will rise to the top. I believe, at least my business anyway, it has very little to do with skill. I'm in Atlantic City right now working on the deal, but it has everything to do with kind of like math. I believe we're in a math business, so it's just a matter of if you have the right math, it'll add up. But if you're doing very little numbers, the math will never add up. I don't care how many years you work at it, the math will never add up unless you have the right math, which is a lot in a short period of time, which is genius. I don't know if there's such thing as success quickly. Success in a long time, but I know success requires that you do it quickly. You get the job done quickly in order to go to the next level. So
when you say math, I mean, I think that's brilliant that you said that, because of course you're in Atlantic City and everything is math in Atlantic City because people gamble. It's gambling, right. Whatever city. So explain to us why math is in probability and ratios are so important to what we're trying to accomplish if we're trying to build a company.
Yeah, what it is, a lot of times, I'm sure there's some companies that need quality, but I believe most companies, at least when you're new in business, you have to figure out what you're good at and you have to get good at it. And I think the only way to get good at it is going for a certain amount of numbers where you actually start picking up what I call a miles per gallon. Before you know it, you start figuring out what you have to do to get success. And then you just keep getting a little better and then you get more success. Or if you spend time with the right people, you'll get a little more success. But the reality is everybody has to go through a math. So, when I was in personal sales, I knew if I sat with 3 insurance clients, so to speak, I would do business with 1, maybe 2. And so I never really focused on how the appointment would go. I focused on just getting on the damn appointment. And so meanwhile, I had people that was 10 times sharper than me, and they dressed better, they had better suits and all that. They focused on getting the right appointment. I focused on even booking appointments. I used to have guys that were really skilled at overcoming objections, and they would spend 20 minutes overcoming an objection, on an appointment, and I would book 5 already, because someone would say no, and I'd be like, thank you, I'll call you back next month. They'll go, no, don't call me back. I'll call you back anyway. And I hang up, and so I got a ratio going towards me. And even in a bigger scale where you got people that are making money and people that are getting some success, it's just a matter of time. See, if you have 50 people that's making, a couple thousand a month, eventually you'll get some people out of that want to make a couple thousand a day. And I think you shouldn't sleep till you're making at least $1,000 a day. One of my quotes is, you shouldn't sleep past 6 a.m. if you don't make 6 figures. And that's the minimum wage.
Love that. Love that.
Unless your family deserve less, then you don't. And I'm big on keeping people uncomfortable. I don't even want to get into that today. I'm not great.
No, I want to get into that. I want to get into that, man. All right. So how do we keep people uncomfortable, man? Tell us, Chris. How do we keep people uncomfortable?
Well, we got to figure out what it is you're working towards. Who do you live for, and who would you like to make sure that they're okay? And then give me a little synopsis of what kind of lifestyle you want them to live. And so would you rather them be uncomfortable, or would you rather be uncomfortable? So my job is to keep you uncomfortable so you get them comfortable. There shouldn't be a day that you sleep until, well, do you need rest? You absolutely need rest. But if you didn't put in a full day, you can't deserve rest. You have to put in a full day to deserve rest. There's so many families out there that have talented husbands. I'm going to use husbands as an example. There's so many families out there that their husbands are super talented, and they got their wives, working at a job or something like that, just because they won't get uncomfortable and do what they need to do. And it's not that hard. I mean, make your family comfortable. It's not to get rich. I believe is hard. To get your family comfortable, it's mandatory. That's not negotiable. We got to get this thing done right away. And if we got to work, like I worked almost 10 years, 15 hours a day. Did I ever take off? I took off, but I didn't take off to watch TV. I took off to maybe go on a vacation. I took off to go, somewhere that was important. Okay. And so we challenge people like that, and.
Are you one of those people that the early days, like, did you, because for me, I came into this thing because I wanted to win quickly. Like I didn't want this thing to take forever. And so how long, kind of give me a few of your numbers of like, how long did it take you to start making 100,000, 200,000, like, because I know you said you didn't get off to a total fast start, but like what sort of time frame?
I would say once I got it going, it took me about 4 years.
Okay.
To really, start making six figures and all that,
Okay.
And then after that is when it really exploded.
Okay.
So when I got a taste of the money and I went,
Mhm.
holy smoke, I could actually make six figures. I kind of like this. What if I can make, 150,000?
Right.
And what if I can make 200,000? And I really started focusing on the infrastructure of my business, where I started focusing on getting leaders to grow. Because I was really big on, because I got good dealing with clients, I thought that was going to be my game for the rest of my life. And that's where most people get caught. I became a financial professional, and I could close pretty much anyone, do a big investment, and I almost got caught in that. I had a few people that talked me out of it. A few people that actually sat down with me and says, eventually you're going to want to stop one day. And they shook it into me. I mean, when I say they talked to me, it took them probably 9 months to convince me to start giving, my time, some of my time, to actually grow in my company. And, thank God I did that, otherwise today I'd still be, doing an insurance or doing an investment.
So basically what you're saying is a lot of people get stuck in this trap where they just want to be the financial guy or gal versus actually becoming a builder of people and a builder of other leaders, right? Because I always talk about, the process. You got to have a process. You got to duplicate that process. And then, of course, you got to sell a vision and paint a picture for people to follow. How important is having a process and duplicating that process?
It absolutely is. Like, you have to do it first. There's no, I think a lot of times, like, people see me today, they go, oh my God, you're just lucky, you just chill out, you just do whatever. And they don't even have a clue what I used to do, when I used to wake up, when I used to go to bed, how hungry I was, what challenges went on in my life. They don't have a clue. And, the fact is, everyone that's successful that started from the bottom, so to speak, went through every single one of those. Okay. But the day you start thinking that, because you got food in your mouth, that you're okay, that's when you have that challenge. You got to have way more than just food in your mouth. And most men are living a life where they just have food in their mouth. They barely, got anything accumulated. They don't have hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s for incidents that might come up, challenges that might come up. And, and so we got to get really uncomfortable with that stuff. The fact is, you and I, you and I need to design a business that one day would allow us to become free. You and I need to design a business that one day will allow us to become free. And that's what it's all about. And if you're not working on designing something, not to stop working, winners never stop working. Like I take off time and then I just want to get right back into it, or attack something else. Like I'm learning how to invest in hotels now. I don't know why I'm learning how to do it. It's just a game for me. Because I've got a company that's really rocking in the financial business. Everything else is just knowledge for me. Everything else is just, like I was telling one of my buddy earlier, he's going to write a book, it's just another day to live. It's just an extra day to your life. You almost get killed a couple times, and so every day now you have, it's just extra. So, you can get upset about it, but every day is what? Extra, okay? And so we're just enjoying life, man.
Hey man, you went through some tragedy and way back when, and I'd like you to share that. And because look, there are people that are going through things right now that are devastating. That they're listening right now and they're saying, "This sounds good for this guy. He's making all this money. He's got this great life, but he doesn't know what I'm going through. He doesn't understand me. He doesn't understand my pain that I'm having right now." And so that's why I'm lazy. That's why I'm not working. That's why I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, because I'm going through all this tragedy and strife. And so I want you to tell a little bit more about your story and the tragedy that you went through, and maybe give us some ideas on how we can power through tragedy and discourse in our life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't get a chance to talk about this too much because, you just, people, there's sometimes you say stuff and they think you're saying it so, you could feel sorry for them. So I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm just saying it because, there's things that we're going to go through in life that probably something that you think you'll never get through, but there's ways of getting through stuff. And, thank God we're in a world where, we get through stuff. But, October 1st of 2007, probably about a month before that, my wife was getting a bunch of headaches and stuff like that. Been together 12 years. She was getting a bunch of headaches. And, we started doing a ton of tests. Nothing was working. They couldn't figure out what it is. And lo and behold, October 1st came and she got a stroke. And instantly the doctor said she was brain dead, that she's never going to come out of it. We did not want to believe it. We just was, praying and hoping that, that she would somehow shake out of it, and she was conscious, but obviously on her brain and so forth, and we kept on fighting, man. And every day I'd go to the hospital, sing to her, try to figure out a way just to, maybe get the memory to come back, and and it wasn't working, and it just got to a point where she was just deteriorating, and what's spooky, most people don't notice one, but I'll say it since we're going through it. January 28th. Which is my birthday. She passed away at 11:37, so she never wants me to forget her. But 11:37, on my birthday, on January 28th, she passed away, and it was just something that really rocked me. And the only thing, there's a ton of things that helped me get through it. But one was financially, I wasn't in trouble. Financially, I had a business that was spitting out maybe 20,000 of income, not a lot, just 20,000 of income coming in a month. I had, a big insurance policy, which I believe in insurance. I sell it. You never thought you'd use it, for yourself. Hope you don't use it for yourself, but these things happen. We got an opportunity to, spend some time, and with some therapists and stuff like that. We got, got to go to church and all that. Just pray. And really, I think the one that really helped me a lot was I got a chance to disappear. I got a chance to travel the world. And be free and just go to places and still see that, so I challenge people, have a lot accumulated in case something happens. Your loved ones are not just going to be able to go back to work, so that rocked me. And, but there was a lot of people around me, they saw that happen. I had a lot of young guys in my business, and they just got really uncomfortable about their future and, how insecure it could be. And, a lot of them just got really independent or responsible almost instantly. When you see a 30-year-old pass away, it never had any kind of medical problems or any kind of, don't drink, don't smoke, anything like that, just pass away. It's devastating. For me, it took me about 4, maybe 5 years to come out of it, but thank God, through friends and so forth, I was able to come out of it, and it made me a stronger person. It absolutely did. So, again, everything else after that day was, extra, when you get over something like that, you start things, trivial things like someone saying no, someone saying I'm not interested, or you're losing, 20,000, 100,000, it becomes pennies compared to that, So I challenge men, I'm speaking from a man, go win and make sure you love your loved ones and do the right things for them immediately, because you never know. Things can happen, and you want to make sure you got some incredible memories. We ran a business together, you know how that is, So it was really cool. So even though it was 12 years we had in our life, technically in a normal world where people go to work and come home and see each other like half an hour, we lived probably 3 or 4 generations. And that was one of the things that kind of helped me move on. You know, so that's basically what happened, man. It was, you know, it was a tragedy, but you know, we bent, but we didn't break.
Well, hey, man, I mean, I think the message that you just brought to us right now is, number one, make sure that you have life insurance. I mean, there's no question about it. Make sure you reassess your financial plan, because I think what's powerful about your story, Chris, is the fact that you got through that simply because you were financially okay. I mean, you know, most people, they crumble like a ton of bricks, and they blow out their whole lives. They're devastated because they don't know where to turn. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it because they're so confused. I mean, when somebody dies, this is devastating emotionally. I mean, when somebody passes away, this is not like a, you know, I mean, this is a lot of years ago for you. So you're obviously have adapted to, you know, come to grips with everything that's happened. But man, when you are going through that, like, you can't go back to work just the next day. You can't just get back in the cycle of things like nothing ever happened. I mean, this is your wife. This is the person you love most in your life, and boom, she's gone. But thank God you were, number one, you had a business. Number two, you had life insurance, and you were able to deal with it the way that you wanted to deal with it. And so, would you say that that's an accurate message?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I tell my guys all the time, you know, it's about, you know, if you remember the story of Noah's Ark, you know, I always tell people, the storm is coming, like winter's coming. We're in New York City, so winter's coming. There's nowhere to stop, and winter's coming. The storm is coming. How big is your boat? Is it closer to a ship or an ark or something like that, or is it closer to a canoe? And most men are walking around with a canoe. Most of these small entrepreneurs that they've worked so little and they stop so fast, they're walking around with a canoe, and that storm, that canoe is not going to be able to withstand that storm. It is coming. Sometimes they're really big, so you got to make sure that you set yourself up. You know, like we're in Vegas right now. I'm learning some stuff on real estate and how to invest in casinos and all that stuff, but I don't know how to gamble. But one thing I know about gambling is the house always wins. So the question is, you know, are you the house? Have you built a house that, you know, that'll withstand no matter who wins or who loses, how many people fall apart, how many properties you lose, all that crap? Is your house strong enough that when the wind comes, that it will, because the wind will come. There's no doubt about that. You know, so don't get, you know, thinking that it's not going to come, you know.
This is Wealth on the Beach podcast with Daniel Alonzo and our special guest, Chris Chong. And look, this dude hasn't been on an appointment since 2008. This guy has been completely financially independent because of massive passive residual income since 2008. Unbelievable story, multi-millionaire. Just so proud to have him on today. One of my heroes in business. Hey man, are you going to be controversial sometimes? What do you think about controversy, man? I want to know from Chris. Are you ever going to be controversial?
I've gotten better at politics. My whole life I've been controversial. You know, I've stepped on every toe. Matter of fact, it was my strategy. You know, I intimidate the competition. You know, and sometimes, you know, I did it the wrong way. You know, a little rough around the edges, but it was the only way I knew, because I never was taught business, and I didn't know how to politic the right way, which a lot of my new you know, business associates, they're really good at doing it now, and I just like clap for them and I go, I screwed up. You know, I wish I would have did that way. But absolutely, you know, you have to be, you know, I mean, just getting out of your environment, and you know, if you're not controversial, that means you're getting along with people that you know, you're getting along with environments that you know, and you'll never grow like that. You know, you have to absolutely be controversial in terms of, you know, the day-to-day things that you do. You can't just, you know, for some reason, you just can't, you know, be simple. You got to, you know, stand out a little bit. Only things that stand out get noticed, you know, so.
That's it. So sometimes you're going to say things that are going to make people mad. Sometimes you're going to push people a little bit too far. sometimes we're going to even make mistakes, because I think me and you are a lot alike, and we have a lot of similarities. That's why I was excited about having you on, is because, you know, you branded yourself. I mean, one of the things that I believe you did in this company is you branded yourself as that guy that was not afraid to go win, and not afraid to go get big, and not afraid to say the things that probably people were thinking, but they really didn't want to say, or they didn't want to hear. And I think that there are the right people. Not everybody resonated towards you. Not everybody jumped on your bandwagon, and you probably got in a little bit of trouble during, you know, some of those years. But the truth is in the end,
trouble.
What's that?
I almost got in trouble a lot. I never got in trouble.
Never got in trouble. Almost got in trouble lots of times. Yeah. But the truth is that there were people that didn't like you. There were people that were probably mad at you or upset that you did certain things. But the point I'm trying to make, though, Chris, is that ultimately you did those things because you were trying to brand. You were trying to build your company. You were trying to step outside of the crowd. You were trying not to be like everybody else. And I've always admired you for that. And look, the point I was trying to make is that, believe it or not, the team that you have today is a lot like you, because you almost target marketed towards those people. So when you would say things that maybe that little old school teacher that never said a bad word in her life, maybe she didn't like you. But that guy that was tough and hungry and an immigrant and freaking stud and, you know, got bullied when he got over here from another country and, you know, grew up really poor and wanted to change his life, that guy, like your RVP that you're hanging out with right now, he freaking jumped on your bandwagon. He was like, I love this dude, man. He's talking my language. And I honestly believe that, yes, it's a numbers game, but we could influence some of those numbers by target marketing towards certain demographic of people. Do you agree with that at all? Am I making any sense?
Absolutely. You know, just from the, you know, when I say the numbers, you have to go through the numbers to find those people. That's what I meant by the numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just not going to find those people, or you're just not, you know, going to, you know, put up a sign and they're just all of a sudden going to show up. You know, we've always, you know, like went through, you know, different parts of our company and just go all the way to the bottom sometimes, because it's not always the people that, you know, that shine the most do the best. You know, sometimes it's the people that maybe, you know, they look a little rusty, you know, they don't look like they, you know, they got a lot going on, but they just got a heart of a champion. They just have something inside that's eating up and says, that I want to just do something special with my life. And, you know, they just pull their heart out and just tell them they could be a winner. You know, thank God in the beginning, I had people in my life that told me, you could win, man. Just keep going. You could win. Just keep, you know, and because sometimes there was a lot of times I didn't believe in myself, you know, and I think a lot of times entrepreneurs think, you know, that you're supposed to believe in yourself. Everything happens to everyone. It's if you just keep going, no matter what, and tell your story a year from now or 5 years from now and inspire someone to go to the next level. Your gift to the world is for you to win.
What's your favorite book, man?
When you win, I've read so many, I read thousands. I like 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class, because I really had to stop doing things that poor people do and broke people do. I really have to start adjusting and, you know, changing the level and my, you know, my standards. And once I started changing my standards and start, you know, like I could only live a certain way, I could only do a certain thing. It's not that I'm better than anyone, but, you know, this is the way I carry myself. I got to have a drive, you know, all these different things. You know, it increased my income, you know, so we're pumped up about that, man. Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I'd probably say 300, something with killing or something like that. You know?
All right. Favorite food?
Favorite food, Caribbean food.
Ice cream or cake?
I would say cake.
Cake. All right, man. Well, hey, this has been absolutely incredible, man. I could literally do this for another 2 hours with you. I appreciate your time so much, Chris. You are an inspiring example of leadership and toughness. and just having a real heart of a champion, man. And today has been magical for me because I've learned so much from you. And I just know that that the future is so bright for you. Hey, how can people, because I know, where exactly are you from where's your office location?
Brooklyn. I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay, all right. So you
Brooklyn.
stayed pretty much in where you grew up, basically, right? Okay.
Yep.
So Brooklyn, New York, if you are in Brooklyn, New York, how do people get a hold of you? Because I know that people are listening right now and they're like, dude, I want to go into business with that guy. Okay.
My Instagram is my name, Chris Chong, 𝐊𝐔𝐘𝐒.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
it.
So, well, somebody's gonna come to you, man. They're gonna say, Chris, teach me, train me, mentor me, change my life, man. And I know that you're the guy to do that. I just also want to make sure that everybody shares this podcast with as many people as you can. Follow me on Instagram, follow Chris on Instagram. We're signing people up every day. Just want to remind you, we have the Wealth on the Beach Club. It's every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join me if you want to take your life to that next level. Every week, it's 1 full hour with me, a lesson and Q&A. It's life-changing. Check out my website, 𝐵𝐿onzoacademy.com, for more details. And as always, check out my YouTube channel. Subscribe. It's free. Lots of incredible free content. With that said, make sure you dream bigger than ever, but always do it now. God bless you. We'll see you at the top.